things we expose them to can model the way they think about themselves and think about situations. I was talking about personality earlier on. Some children are warriors, they're naturally problem solvers. Some are thinkers. Some of them, those kind of ones, are sometimes the ones we call the ones that would analyze and become paralyzed in the process of analyzing. How do you support those kind of children? Do you begin to compare them with the warriors? Hello, how are you doing? Thank you so much for stopping by again if you're returning, and if this is your first time, thank you for coming to my channel. Remember to please subscribe and hit the notification button so you can be notified whenever we drop our topics. Now, my name is Kiki, right? And in my last video, I started off talking about helping our children imbibe the culture of success and how we can help them build themselves up, in terms of the way they talk, their morals, their values, and all of that. And one of the things that came up while I spoke last week was resilience, right? Forgive my voice, the cough is going, it's relieving me now gradually. But yeah, we came up with the topic resilience came up, and I promised to come back and kind of share a few tips and thoughts around resilience. And while I did my research and my study, I found out that resilience, it's something that's for some of us, it's inborn, it's inbuilt, it's what we inherit, like a genetic trace or that we get from our parents. And for some of us, it's we become resilient based on our environment, the things that are happening in our environment. And for some of us, we actually learn it. But before we go into all of that, what do we actually mean by resilience? Resilience refers to the ability to bounce back, adapt, and recover from challenges, setback, or adversity. It is a capacity to withstand difficult circumstances, maintain a positive outlook, and continue moving forward despite obstacles. Resilience doesn't mean avoiding stress or difficulties. Rather, it is about developing that inner strength and skills to navigate stress and difficulties. So, will there be difficulties? Yes. Will there be things to want to stress us? Yes. But resilience is the ability to be able to navigate and move. Like when I was explaining to my children, I said, keep moving and pushing against the wind, irrespective of the wind, irrespective of the storm that happens in our day-to-day lives. Keep moving, ability to keep moving and pushing through them. And like I said earlier on, some of us, we learn it. Some of us, it's something that is inborn in us. And that's why I said there are three main factors. One is the genetic factor, one is the environmental factor, and one is the learned factor. Now, the genetic factor is where we're talking about our temperaments. There's some children that are warriors. There's some children that are peacemakers. They want everything to go. There's some of us that are, the life of the party, the sanguine, the party people, the relators. And there's some of us that are the thinkers. We think and we observe and we're looking through things. And depending, some of us will have two of them. I think the average person will have two dominant personalities or temperaments, and some would have two and then maybe three, the third one. But depending on the child's temperament, that can affect their ability to be resilient or how resilient they would be. Also, neurological factor or neurobiological factors, and there are hormonal responses as well. All of these are things that in a way, I can say maybe we can't control because they're inbuilt, they're in us already. But again, I also believe that we can control our temperament or personality. We can adopt. So there's this book I read so many years ago, The Spirit Controlled Temperament. So off the back of that, maybe we can control them. But again, as parents, the ones that I want us to pay attention to in helping our children become resilient is the environmental factor, which boils down to your how supportive you are in the home, the kind of role model you are to your children. The home environment, access to resources, cultural and community factors. So when you talk about supportive, when things happen in the home, how supportive are you? Do you condemn, or do you use the sandwich method to praise, correct, and then, end it up with praise? Or do you compare? A lot of the times we don't know the effect these things has on our children. I think I've mentioned it here once, where a child once said, "I'd rather not do so well so that they don't have anything to compare me with, or I don't raise their expectations too high." And that's because this child feels he's been compared too many times, and then because he's doing so well, when he makes mistakes, he's condemned. So he feels it's better for me not to raise the expectations so high so they don't condemn me. How about being a positive role model? Expose your children to being resilient, to yourself as a resilient individual, especially as they're growing from childhood and it's become teenagers, when they're beginning to see all of these things that are challenging them in life. How do you as a parent cope with challenges or difficult situations? A lot of us do not realize that our children are watching us and they're learning from us. I saw a video this morning of two little twin girls that their mom, they drew on the wall. If you ever had a toddler, I'm sure you probably have battled with that at some point or the other. They drew on the wall, and the mom was saying that she was like, "Oh, why is this? You guys see, look at my wall, look at my wall." And then she gave them the napkins to clean the wall, but instead of these little pretty girls cleaning the wall, they were cleaning the floor. And I was reading the comments, and people were saying, "Oh, these children, that shows how children learn by watching us, that they probably have never seen mom clean the wall. All they see mom do is clean the floor." So as soon as they got the napkin and they had clean, they bent over and started cleaning the floor. They learned from it. I just started laughing at that, whatever I saw online this morning. Our children learn from us. How do you respond to challenges? Are you the yelling parent? Are you the one who takes out your frustrations on others? Are you the one who, when things happen, the people that are close to you are the ones who suffer from it, even though they do not know what is happening? And I always say that it's better for you to tell me what is happening, and let's discuss it. Let's see how we can wage it together. These children are watching you. So how do you respond? What kind of role model are you when it comes to responding to resilience? Another way children learn about resilience is the home environment. Stable home environment. Growing up in a stable and nurturing home can provide a sense of security that contributes to an overall resilience for our children. So what kind of home environment are your children growing up in? Is it stable or unstable? Is the water in your home peaceful or stormy or unstable? Another one is access to resources. Educational resources, healthcare, socio-economic resources can also help our children to develop resilience. Now, let's go to the learned factor. Coping strategies, one of them. Learning healthy coping mechanisms such as problem solving, emotional regulation, and seeking social support contributes to resilience. So, as a parent, are your children exposed to learning how to cope with things, problem solving? There was a time that I used to think that any little thing, I'm there to solve it for my children. Until one day I asked myself, okay, what if I'm not there? How are they going to solve this problem? We need to be able to expose our children to problem-solving skills. Little problems, little things to fix in the house, little solutions for them to profound. Come up with their suggestions, we discuss it, and then we go with the one that we think is right. Also, adaptive thinking, positive thinking. How do we model our children to think? I always wonder, how do I influence the way my children think about themselves and the situations around them? And one of them for me is the things I say to them. The things we say can actually help them model the way they think. That's one. Then the things we expose them to can model the way they think about themselves and think about situations. I was talking about personality earlier on. Some children are warriors, they're naturally problem solvers. Some are thinkers. Some of them, those kind of ones, are sometimes the ones we call the ones that would analyze and become paralyzed in the process of analyzing. How do you support those kind of children? Do you begin to compare them with the warriors? How about the peacemakers? I think I used to be greatly a peacemaker growing up. Again, we evolve. I'm sure when some of my friends will see this, they'll say, Kiki, you're not a peacemaker. But yes, I am a peacemaker. You know, how I used to be a peacemaker as a teenage girl. You know, so that child who is a peacemaker, peacemakers usually, they avoid trouble. So I think with that, those kind of children, they avoid trouble, they run away and want to distance or separate themselves from troubled waters or things that will stress them. So when you have that kind of a child, oh, can't you see? I used to have a sibling, a younger sister, who was a warrior. She's still a warrior till now. She watches this video, she'll be like, it's me you're talking about, right? And if you know us very well in my family, you know what I'm talking about. She's still a warrior till date. So imagine comparing me, a peacemaker. It feels weird to be calling myself a peacemaker right now at this stage of my life, or you know how I've evolved. But yeah, I still love peace. I'm a peacemaker. No, let's not misinterpret it. Peacemakers are not necessarily I still love peace or I love peace kind of children, but they're just like the phlegmatic, easygoing, peaceful, lovey-dovey, everything is okay kind of children. So imagine comparing a peacemaker child, a phlegmatic child, to a sanguine or a choleric who is a warrior. That child will be broken. Yes, I'm saying this because I've been there. That child will be broken. So that again, helping them, adapt to thinking positively and being able to evolve in themselves, builds resilience in our children. Also, emotional intelligence. Being able to teach our children, emotional intelligence. When situations happen, how should they react? How should they respond? What should happen? How should it happen? What is acceptable to the other person and to yourself? Boundaries off the back of emotional intelligence. Again, another beautiful one to help us build resilience in difficult situations is mindfulness and self-awareness. I love self-awareness so much. Awareness, not just self-awareness, environmental awareness, people awareness, personal awareness, self-awareness, intrapersonal awareness, being aware of the other person, how they respond to situations, how they deal with situations, can also help us, to build resilience. Resilience is not solely determined by one category or the other. It is a result of how these things interplay in each of us, how they intertwine in each of us. And as parents, we can actually help our children. So here are a few practical strategies in how we can help our children become more resilient. One, set goals. I keep talking about set goals and achievable expectations. What are your expectations? What are the goals? And communicate this with your children. Also, normalize mistake. It's okay to make mistakes. Normalize mistakes, accept mistakes, and don't bring the roof down when our children make mistakes. Also, help your children to be curious. When your child asks you questions, it's not the time to shut them down. Answer the questions, and when you don't know the answer, help them to think about the answer. Brainstorm the answers with them. I used to say a lot, so what do you think? Okay, so how do you think this can map out? Brainstorm the questions, brainstorm the ideas with them. Also, listen and give feedback, accept feedback, and also give constructive feedback to them, and model the right behavior, model resilience to your children as well. I would also add, another thing I would also ask is acknowledge efforts, and acknowledge and praise effort, and then set new goals. Reflect on efforts, acknowledge it, praise it, and reflect on effort. This is what you did, this is how you could do it better, this is next time, tips on what you could do, and then support them through setbacks. Gosh, setback would happen. When they're not supported through setback, they hide away because they don't want to be failures. Nobody loves to be a failure, or nobody loves to feel like a failure. So when setbacks happen, acknowledge it and support them through it. Like Jesus was for those 3 boys, Hebrew boys. Be the 4th man in the funnel with them. Let God walk through you to be the 4th man through the setback with them. I hope this has helped in a brief way. If you have further questions, please do not hesitate to put your questions in the comments area, and I will be there to answer your questions. And if you need help, if you feel, oh, my child is behaving this way and I want to help him do better, please feel free to reach out to us. We've got resources, and we've got framework to help parents through the journey of parenting their sons through the teenage years. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been helpful. I'll see you again. Stay tuned.